So you think you're out here doing your thing, Mr. Big Trucker, or Miss Big Trucker, whoever, right? Well, this is a video about those that's inquiring about, the OTR truck driving lifestyle. Y'all tapped in with the Head of the Game podcast. Without further ado, y'all read the title. Let's get right into these points right here. All right, so number one. So I got my top 5 reasons on why you don't want to become an OTR truck driver. And OTR stands for over-the-road truck driver. It's like the true nature of truck driving, right? Interstate, sitting from state to state, so on and so forth. So these are my top 5. Let's get right into it. All right, so number 1 on the list is home time. So regarding home time, you're more so away from home than you are at home in your home city, because obviously you're driving around the country, right? And what that also consists of is you got to work on average anywhere from like 50 to 60 hours a week. That's how much the general truck driver works every week, day in and day out, week in and week out, right? So with that being said, there's a lot of things you're going to be deprived of. You're going to be deprived of friends and family, and you're just going to be deprived of a lot of the regular, idealistical, day-to-day things that I feel like, I don't say most people take for granted, but it's just such a norm that most people don't even consider it not being in their life, right? So home time is definitely a big one, because, a lot of stuff that you're being deprived of for doing this profession, right? So we're going to move on to number 2, health, right? So regarding your health, the nature of this job is very non-physical. So you sitting, you're relaxing, you're driving, you're in a stationary position, 5, 10, well, not 10, but up to 8 hours at a time. You're sitting there stationary trying to get to your destination, right? So that could become very unhealthy, on top of the truck stop food and, the type of places that's at truck stop, like Denny's, McDonald's. Denny's is probably the healthiest you're going to get, relatively, in comparison to all the other stuff, because it's nothing but fast food there, right? So meal prepping is essential doing this profession if you want to keep on top of your health. Also, as well, you can shower every day, but it's not idealistical, right? You can shower mostly every day, but depending on your route and how you set up, you go on a dedicated route, I do feel like it's more realistic to take showers and be on, top of your hygiene and stuff like that. So that's good for those that's on the dedicated route. Also, as well, your mental health. Keeping your mental right, because you're perpetually going to places that's unfamiliar, and you got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. So making sure you get the right amount of sleep, you feel me? Not a lot of allowing negativity to enter your mindset and your mental. So it'll be certain people you may not need to interact, communicate with, that can help. And it could be also what you indulge in social media wise. So that goes into a lot of your health and also your mental health, right? So the next one, which is living a minimalist lifestyle. Now, people that like to live in luxury and they driving their fast cars and they hitting up the functions and they going from, here and there and being in the mix, you feel me? You're a very social person that got a great, abundant social life. This is going to be hard for you, because it's taking you away from that. You feel me? Because this is an isolated industry. Truck driving is a one-man sport. So when you're doing this, it doesn't include no one else but yourself. It's you versus you every day. You always got to rise up to the challenge, and there's nobody you can point the finger at far as what can or what cannot go wrong, because you're 100% liable and 100% responsible for what transpires in that day, within reason, of course, right? So with that being said, a minimalist lifestyle you have to take into an account, because it's taking you away from the day-to-day, things. Like I said before, I don't say people take for granted, but, they just got access to it, and that's just their norm, right? When you're doing this, is going to take you away from that, and you got to reprogram your mind on how to live an alternative lifestyle. So that is number 3. Let's get to number 4. Number 4, we're going to run through these quick, right? Number 4 is you're never doing the same job. What do I mean by that? And most can attest, if they are over the road truck drivers or truck drivers, period, that you realize that this job is everything but driving, right? It's a big part of what we do, but the stress levels that come along with, the other things that surround the driving, I feel like are the things that easily get missed doing this profession, right? So whether it's paperwork, right? These are all the unpredictable things that can come along with doing this profession, right? So you got the wrong paperwork, the weather could be bad, the traffic could come out to nowhere, and worst, and this is the number one reason of an unpredictable thing coming along is a breakdown, right? And some of this could be out of your control. You do your pre-trip. You can check your tires, you can check your brakes, making sure your equipment working right, and still something happens like a blowout. You feel me? That's something you really can't control, but it's on the table to happen. And I've had a couple of busted tires, you feel me? And I've had one breakdown with my radiator, you feel me, leaking out and breaking, right? So that's a super big one as well, is that you're never doing the same job. Every day is going to present something new. So this is the nature of the kind of job to where you got to expect the unexpected, right? You got to expect the unexpected. And regarding like any other profession, you're typically doing the same day. Yeah, you're around the same people. Yeah, you're doing maybe a different, you're doing the same task, but you're having different interactions, right? But it's the same formula. With this, every day sometimes requires a different version of you to be able to get through the day, right? So, and last but not least, the biggest misconception out of all this is the pay, right? Because most people think like, you get into this profession, all right, you making bank right out the gate. Boom. Feel me? You can chat GBT, you can Google Gemini, feel me? What is the first year salary of a truck driver? CDLA truck driver. It's going to say around 50 bands, right? 50 bands. That's because you have to look at your first year as an internship, right? Your first year is you gaining experience in order for the doors to open up to other companies that's going to require more than just your CDL. Now, there's one way to get around this, right? And the one way to get around and to bump up your pay right out the gate is getting your endorsements. So 3 endorsements. You got hazmat, you got tanker, and you also got doubles and triples. I have all 3. I made sure to get all my endorsements before I even took my first position. So that way, that was something already set aside, put behind me, just in case a new position comes up. And now the name of the game is qualification, right? So the more specialized you are in whatever field you are in, opens up the qualifications and more opportunities for you to be able to take advantage of that. You feel me? Take advantage of those opportunities. So that's the name of the game. So we get paid, unlike most jobs, because most jobs go by hourly rate, we get paid cent per mile. So if you do the math, you get 35, 39, 40, 50, 60 cent per mile, and it's gauged on your experience, right? So if you've been over the road truck driver for about 6 months, around the pocket that I'm at, you're probably gonna typically be able to negotiate a 50 cent, cent per mile, which in translation, that's probably about, depending on how fast you're driving in whatever state, that can go anywhere from like $25 to $30 an hour, right? So the name of the game is being specialized, being qualified, but you're probably not gonna get paid that much. That's really the biggest misconception. So if you're willing to wait that year, you know, other schools, other professions take longer than that for you to start really mastering your trade or your skill. So with that being said, those are my top 5 reasons not to get into this profession. I will do a top 5 reasons why you would want to get in this profession sometime down the road. But thanks for watching. Comment, like, subscribe.